Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess I think that's a liquid. I think that's what I have too. It rinse my mouth, and then some Listerine too.
That's what Scott likes. Are we on?
Yeah. Whenever where you want to start. Page up, page down. We covered that stuff up there.
Well, do you ever think about when you're gonna pass? Do you think about dying?
Yeah, I try to think about it, but it's just hard to imagine.
Do you?
Good. You kind of wonder, are you going to be sick? Are you going to go fast? Or,
And what do you think happens after you die?
Now that is hard to believe. You know, you listen to some of the stories that people tell. You know what the future is going to be like, and so.
You think there's an afterlife?
Well, that's you just kind of wonder how can it be, and.
Well, that's what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I say it's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But.
Do you believe that that it's there, that there's heaven?
Yes, but you wonder how can it be with all the people, you know, that go. That you wonder how it can be, and if only your soul goes there.
That's what they say.
Yeah, and that they say, you know, that you're going to recognize your people too. It's good to think of.
How do you want to be remembered?
Of being able to do things for people. Yeah.
Helping other people.
Yeah.
And being a mother and a grandmother.
Yeah. That's it. Well, that's what I figure too with my life, that have had a full life. Really, I've done a lot of things, done a lot of traveling, and when I could, and so I got a lot of memories now of what I have done, where I've been.
Is there anything that you regret?
No, to tell you the truth, I don't. And I can't think of anything that I would do different.
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you could, like, I guess sum up or summarize, like, the most important things that you would want other people to know, what you've learned from life, do you have any of those that you would describe, or things that you've learned, or parables or anything that you have kind of found through life that you would want to explain to other people, or that you wish to portray to them that's important to you?
about life, you mean?
About life in general, you know, your feelings, you know, big concepts, you know, like for some people, you know, it's not necessarily the money, or it's, you know, this is what I've found to really be what's important in life, and I've kind of lived my life that way.
Yeah. No, I never figured that money meant that much to me. I didn't think money was that important. I just thought would be nice to be remembered in some way. Something that I have done, maybe that helps somebody else. And I've never felt like would hurt anybody, and I never, as far as I know, don't think I ever argued with anybody.
We did a lot of volunteering too,
Mhm.
that's for sure.
Yeah, that I did, and that's what I thought of helping others, because I was at Blumenthal for 14 years with Bingo with them, and then after Blumenthal, then I asked them over at the Elms if they needed anybody, and so that I've been over there ever since, and I have been trying to think how long I've been over there, but it must have been at least 5 years.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And so I've really enjoyed being with them, but I was glad I could come home and live in my own apartment. Yeah, because I just put in a couple of months over at the Elms, and I didn't think that I wanted that kind of a life.
No, well, that's something that we'll all remember about you, that you're very determined.
Yeah. Well, so
You were determined not to stay there.
Yeah.
So.
And so your dad thought I should stay there until I could take care of myself.
So you could walk with the walker, right?
Yeah, and walk with the walker. And did I walk with the walker
You
or
did.
the cane?
It might have been the walker and then the cane.
Mm-hmm.
But he said you had to be able to walk
Yeah, right.
before
so,
you came home, and you said, okay,
and I,
well then that's what I'll do.
yeah, and so I was determined, and if that's what it was going to take, I was going to do it. So,
And here you are.
yeah, right. And so, just to be able to get up when you want to, go to bed when you want to, have your meals, because to be regimented like you were over there, it had to be certain hours. You did everything.
Well, you had a roommate.
Yeah, and that didn't work out too well.
What was her name? Fanny?
Fanny, yeah.
Fanny, yeah.
So,
It didn't work out too well.
no. And she had to move out of there, too. She got so
got
demanding
sick.
herself
Yeah.
of wanting things, and couldn't eat this, couldn't eat that, and they were not going to cater to her. So she had to go to a home. And I tried to call her since she was there, and she couldn't hear me on the phone.
Oh, sad.
So she said, I can hear you, so come and see me. Well,
No,
no. So
that's not gonna happen.
that never happened. So I don't know what happened to Fanny either. So
So when you look back so far on your life, what would you consider the happiest moment that you've experienced so far?
I think probably my marriage, probably, because he and I never argued about anything, and he was very easygoing. That whatever I would say or do, he was always agreeable. In fact, he'd always say to me first, well, what do you want to do? So it's usually that I would make the decisions. Not that I felt that I had to, but he was always satisfied. So that really worked out good. And so, and I felt, because he was so agreeable that with me, that that's what I wanted to do most. And I know George would say to me, let's see, how do you say that? My dad has had the happiest years with you that he had with anybody. So,
That feels good.
yeah, it is. And for George to say that too, because none of the other kids did, although they were very agreeable, excepting Betty. Betty was not the most agreeable person. She had a temper, so it was good that she got married and moved away. Worked out better, but she was not around here, and she would say some things that were not so nice. Write them to me from California that I didn't do this or didn't do that, and I didn't have any new clothes. I had to wear second-hand clothes, and so she would say. So now
she didn't say anything to her father.
No, no. Well, and of course, if she would, he wouldn't side on with her, and yet that's what she wanted. And in a way, I could see, because after all, she was his daughter, and being the only girl that.
Well, she was young when she lost her mom.
Yeah.
So that must have been hard.
I think it was too. So I didn't.
She's not the easiest person to get along with.
No, and she's written me some very nasty things too, and so. But now she wants to be very hunky-dory, and wants me. She'll write to me and say, "You have been a wonderful mother to me, and I will never forget." But after you said something different, and then try to cover it up, you still don't forget.
She probably feels bad.
Yeah. So
if those were some of the happiest moments of your life, what would be some of the not so happiest or sadder moments that you experienced?
Well, I suppose one of the hardest things for me to accept was the fact when I was living with the McLaughlins, and you two were born and were here, and so I'd come down and visit you, and then your dad would call me and say, "Why don't you come down here, and see Chris and Scott play ball, and to be with them." And I kept thinking about that too, how nice that would be. But that made Mrs. McLaughlin so mad, because she thought I was going to stay there till she died, and that I was not going to leave her. So that was.
So you felt torn.
That was a very unhappy time to.
Because you wanted to come down here.
Leave, and yet to leave her, and after all, she was no relative of mine.
Right.
That's what I tried to think of. But she was not happy at all, and I think she was an only child and always had her way, and everything had to go her way because she had nobody to criticize her. So she took it out on me then about.
How long did you work for her?
I think it was, let's see, 11 years. 11 years, yeah.
Did you worked for her before? You worked for her before you were married?
But
And then you didn't work for her for a while?
No, I'm not, because after Grandpa and I were married, then, of course, we lived together.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go over and help her out maybe a day a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than that, then she lived alone.
And then after Dad was grown, then you, or even after that, it wasn't until after Grandpa passed away that you went over and lived with her.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. but she did, she sort of really bossed me around. My life was not really my own because she would want me to drive her up to Buffalo to the 20th Century Club. She'd go up there for lunch, and then I'd have to go up with the car and get her, bring her home. Or she would be invited to a bridge party and dinner at the club, and I'd have to take her up there and sit and wait till she was ready to come home.
Wow.
And then bring her home.
Wow.
So those were not my pleasant times, because I was really feel obligated to her too.
Who's been the biggest influence that you would consider you had in your life, and if so, why, and what did they teach you?
I would figure that my father really was. Yeah. I felt really close to him, and liked to do things that he did, and I would always hate to leave home when I go to visit them, because I just hate to leave him. And then, because I would kiss him goodbye and then go to the car, and then I'd make some excuse to come back to the house and do it again. Say, I didn't kiss you, did I? But, so I just hated to leave him.
What did he teach you?
He, as I say, was very easygoing guy.
Patient.
Yeah. And my mother was more domineering, but he always had a good word, and always had a nice manner, and I never heard my father raise his voice.
So you just would talk to him. You guys would talk.
Mm.
You know, he was patient, and he wanted to hear about what was going on in your life.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I would say something about something that he might have done when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And he'd say, no, I didn't. He didn't want to feel that he ever hurt you or hurt your feelings. So he didn't want to remember or think of.
He was caring.
Yeah. Yeah. He really was. Yeah. Yes, so I missed him a lot. And he always had so many great sayings.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Such as?
Do you remember them?
Little things. Let's see, there was something I can't really think now what they were, but he had a good lot of sayings that he would say to me, and
Are there any of the ones that you've used?
Anyway.
The fox is the finder with the sting in
Oh,
behind it.
Is that
yours?
one of them?
Yeah. My mother.
Your mother?
That was my mother. Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was, good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was her. Yeah, she had more like that too, and my mother was, she would swear,
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Bad mouth.
Right. And but none of us ever did. No, none of us ever picked up any of those words.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever heard you swear before.
No, I don't remember ever doing it either. But, and maybe that was the reason, was because we'd hear my mother, and none of us picked up, none of my brothers or sisters picked it up either. But that was one that Scott remembered that.
What are you proudest of in your life? Or what would you consider something you're really proud of?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say.
Something you can toot your own horn over.
Yeah, well, then I can think of, which is really true, was your dad was always a good boy and always good to me and always did things that made me proud of him, and I don't think he ever did anything that I wasn't proud of that he did. So I think he was mostly proud of I was mostly proud of him, and a lot of people would tell me that I was going to spoil him. Yeah, but to me, he never did. So
Well, he's a good guy. I think we'll vouch for him.
yeah, yes, and I think he has sort of the same kind of feelings. I don't think he wants to say anything to hurt anybody either. And as I've said, everywhere he goes, he always has people laughing. Some he'll make some joke for them, and even people that he'll see on the street, he will speak to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think he's turned out the way you thought he would?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very proud of him that he did. He always had respect for me too, which I was glad for, because you see a lot of kids that aren't.
Well, is there anything, any words of wisdom that you want to pass along to us, or anything you want to tell us, or anything you ever wanted to ask us, or?
I wonder that. That's a good question.
Throwing a lot of stuff at you.
Yeah. The main thing I could think of right off the top of my head was just that the two of you are just as good as you can be to me, always have been, and that's made me happy really too, that you think of things to do for me that it's hard to believe, that you did on your own. So I'm just pleased about that.
Well, you've been pretty good to us.
Well, so I wanted to pay you back that way for you being so nice to me.
We
So,
feel lucky that you that you did move down here.
Yeah.
And we got to have you
yeah.
in our lives all these years.
Yeah, that's I really am. If he wouldn't have insisted upon it, I probably would have stayed up there till she died. But that really, she lost respect for your dad because of that. Because she felt that he pulled me away from.
But you're his mother.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. But she never had any brothers or sisters, so she really was selfish. Always had her way. So it was hard for her to cope with it, anything that didn't go her way.
Well, we're glad that you moved down here. Not a lot of people don't get to have their grandparents in their lives.
Yeah, that's true.
We did.
I often think of that too, that we're together as much as we were, and that some grandparents will be in east and grandchildren in the west, and they just never get to see them.
I remember when we were growing up, I remember when you would come for Christmas,
Yeah.
And you would bring us a present. Do you remember this? A present for every day, and we thought it was like the coolest thing. Remember, we couldn't wait for you to get there.
Yeah.
And then we would all snuggle in your bed.
Yeah.
Like 3 bugs in a rug.
Yeah,
We'd
right.
all snuggle in that bed and open our presents for the day. And
Yeah. Oh, you remember that? Yeah.
I
That
remember you would come for like a week, and we would be so excited. And we would have jelly, like toast with jelly for breakfast, and
Well, I'm glad you remember some of those things too.
Do you remember when Mom and Dad went out to California?
Yeah.
You took care of us?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That probably wasn't on your list of
You were
favorite memories.
Only a handful?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Was that the time, Scott, that you were over here and we went swimming and you went in the swimming pool with your shoes on?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that I did it, though.
Right.
No, I think it was cold then. I remember being mad because I felt like Scott was getting away with everything, and it wasn't fair.
It was during the summer, or
It was?
spring, or something like that.
Maybe it was.
Yeah.
I remember just being mad that he was getting away with everything, and it just wasn't fair.
Right. Yeah. And you remember your mother came then for you, and she didn't like it. She didn't like it either. That I let you go in the pool.
What were they, my Sunday shoes or something?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
No, but that's funny.
Yeah.
That's typical. You probably told him to take them off, and he was like, "What? I'm going in."
Mom's not here, please.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
That's too funny.
Well, you remember the time they were, I don't know if that was when they were in California too, that you started a fire?
With probably Brad McNeil in the backyard and a fort
Yes.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Started a fire.
We had a fort and stuff, and yeah, probably just fire got out of control.
Did you have to like extinguish it?
I went out and had to take it out.
I don't remember that.
Maybe we had a fort back there.
Of course you did.
Yep. Those were good days.
That was just those little things that we remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we better get you over to bingo, Grandma.
Yeah.
we'll have to do it again, Grandma.
Well, yeah, that would be nice. We'll think of some more things.
Well.
No, there's plenty more. You've had a very busy life.
Yeah, I really feel that I have. I've had a very full life, and I've enjoyed all of it, and think back over things that I did. It's hard to believe,
Yeah, that you've accomplished so much.
Yeah.